Sure. Here's section 1 of the script. Staying true to the HFY spirit, with no fluff, just pure, high-quality storytelling. The USS Nightingale hung in the void, its massive white hull adorned with glowing red crosses. A beacon of peace in a war-torn galaxy. Inside, the hum of medical scanners mixed with the rhythmic beeping of life support systems. Doctors moved swiftly, treating the wounded, human and alien alike. Soldiers from both sides of the conflict lay side by side, their survival entrusted to the hands of those who asked for no allegiance, only the chance to heal. Captain Mira Solis stood at the bridge, watching the battle-scarred planet below. Tartarus. 5 had become a graveyard, its surface marred by endless war. Humanity had sent the Nightingale not as a weapon, but as a lifeline. Even the Galactic Concordia Treaty, signed by all major factions, forbade the targeting of medical vessels. There was supposed to be honor in war. The warning came too late, a blinding ripple in space. And suddenly, Zalari warships were upon them. The Dominion had never respected treaties. Their fleet decloaked like a pack of predators sensing weakness. 12 battleships, 3 dreadnoughts, and a swarm of strike craft. Far more than necessary for an unarmed hospital ship. Incoming transmission, the comms officer said, voice tight with fear. The screen flickered to life, revealing Fleet Commander Voska. His pale, chinless face twisted into a smirk. Humans, always so quick to show compassion. A weakness your kind never learned to shed. Captain Mira stepped forward, fists clenched. We are a medical ship. Under galactic law, you have no right. The first salvo hit before she could finish. The Nightingale rocked violently as missile strikes ripped through its shields. Consoles exploded, sending engineers sprawling. Emergency sirens blared. The lights flickered as power conduits overloaded. Direct hits on Deck 6 through 12. Hull breaches detected. Evacuate non-essential personnel. Get those force fields up now. Mira shouted, gripping the railing as another impact sent tremors through the ship. In the medbay, doctors shielded their patients as explosions tore through the walls. Smoke filled the air. The once sterile white corridors turned into war zones. Nurses scrambled to stabilize the critically wounded as the ship's artificial gravity fluctuated. Voska's voice crackled through the speakers. You have 10 minutes before we reduce you to dust. Surrender, and we may spare a few of you for study. A ripple of rage surged through the crew. Surrender? To butchers who targeted the helpless? Mira slammed her fist against the console. Send a distress signal. All channels. Get this to Earth. The transmission burst into the void. A desperate call for aid. A single message encoded with everything they had left. Coordinates. Fleet composition. The treachery of the Zalari Dominion. A plea not for survival, but for justice. Voska laughed. Do you think your people will come for you? You are alone. You die alone. The boarding alarm screamed to life. Zalari shock troops breached the lower decks, armored figures pouring into the ship like a plague. Plasma rifles lit up the hallways, cutting down unarmed medics. The ship's small security force fought back, outgunned but unwilling to go quietly. Dr. Elias Corin grabbed a scalpel, his only weapon, as the doors of the trauma bay burst open. A Zalari soldier raised his rifle, mandibles clicking. Before he could fire, a human orderly tackled him, driving a surgical saw into his carapace. Blood sprayed across the medical bay walls. Fall back, someone shouted. The defense was futile. One by one, humanity's healers fell. On the bridge, Mira locked eyes with her crew. She could see in them fear, grief, but above all, defiance. They'll come, she whispered. Her last words before the Nightingale erupted into a ball of fire. The transmission reached Earth in the dead of night. Across the Sol system, deep space relays pulsed with the final words of the USS Nightingale. Every screen, every military outpost, every command station saw the same message. The red crosses burning, the desperate cries, the unprovoked slaughter. On Luna Command, silence gripped the war room. Admiral Jonas Creed stood motionless, fists tightening as the last transmission ended. Around him, officers and strategists stared at the flickering hollow display. A hospital ship, unarmed, targeted, destroyed. "The Zalari want war," Creed said, his voice like iron. "We'll give them extinction." No debates, no hesitation. The High Command convened in record time, but there was only one outcome: total retaliation. Every fleet admiral signed the order. The political leaders, usually slow, agreed without a word. Across every colony, from the Martian shipyards to Europa's hidden bases, war engines roared to life. The news spread faster than light. Civilians watched in horror, then in fury. The Zalari Dominion had crossed the line. Peace had been Earth's gift to the stars, and they had spat on it. Factories shifted into overdrive. Volunteer centers overflowed. Old soldiers, retired veterans, engineers, hackers. Everyone wanted in. Earth had never started a galactic war, but humanity had never lost one, either. The Zalari's arrogance sealed their fate. Their leaders scoffed when they intercepted Earth's official response. To the Zalari Dominion, there will be no negotiations, no quarter, no ceasefire. You did not just attack a ship. You attacked our very soul. We are coming. Zalari warlords laughed. They had fought humans before. Stubborn, yes, but limited. They had no idea. The first signs came within hours. Supply lines collapsed. Hyper-relays went dark. Outposts stopped responding. Zalari convoys vanished without a trace. Entire fleets left adrift. Engines disabled, systems fried by human cyber warfare. And then the sky itself burned. At the edge of the Zalari home system, space split open. Earth's war fleet arrived, not in small skirmishes, not with peace envoys. No warnings, no mercy. Super dreadnoughts, miles long, emerged from hyperspace. Carrier groups, tactical assault cruisers, orbital bombardment platforms. The Vengeance, humanity's most powerful warship, led the charge. On every Zalari world, alarm screamed. Their admirals panicked. This was not a counterattack. This was annihilation. The war had begun. The Zalari home fleet scrambled into formation, their admirals barking orders as human warships advanced. They had expected retaliation, but not like this. Not this fast. Not this overwhelming. Earth's fleet didn't waste words. They didn't demand surrender. They opened fire. The first wave hit like a storm. Railguns, plasma lances, kinetic bombardments. Zalari shields shattered under the sheer force of human firepower. The Vengeance fired a single round from its mass driver, a tungsten slug moving at relativistic speeds, and a Zalari dreadnought, one of their prideful war machines, simply ceased to exist. Shock rippled through the enemy ranks. They had underestimated human engineering, human ruthlessness. Zalari commanders tried to regroup, issuing desperate counterattacks. Humanity adapted instantly. Advanced AIs predicted their every move, while human ingenuity filled the gaps machines couldn't. Smaller Terran ships darted between Zalari formations, exploiting weaknesses before the enemy even knew they had them. Then came the ground assault. The Zalari had always assumed their homeworlds were untouchable. Fortresses carved into mountains, underground cities, entire continents covered in defensive cannons. It didn't matter. Orbital drop pods rained down like fire from the gods. Shock troopers, exosuit infantry, mechanized walkers. The Zalari ground forces never stood a chance. Human soldiers fought like demons, methodical, relentless, unstoppable. The Zalari command structure collapsed in real time. Their warriors, bred for dominance, found themselves outmatched in every way. Humans didn't fight for conquest or resources. They fought for something far more terrifying: vengeance. By the time the last Zalari fortress fell, the message was clear. Earth was not merciful. Not anymore. The last Zalari strongholds crumbled, their once mighty empire reduced to dying embers. What had taken centuries to build was undone in mere weeks. Humanity had turned war into an art form, and now the masterpiece was nearly complete. The Zalari High Council, once filled with arrogance, now cowered in the ruins of their capital. Their escape ships had been hunted down before they even left orbit. Every distress signal had been jammed, Silenced, ignored. No allies came to their aid. Earth's fleet surrounded the planet like executioners awaiting the final command. But humanity wasn't here for conquest. They weren't here to rule. They were here to deliver a message. Admiral Creed's voice echoed across the Zalari homeworld. No threats, no warnings, just a statement of fact. You will never harm another of ours again. This is not a negotiation. This is your reality. Then came the final act. Orbital bombardment stripped away their war factories, erased their cloning facilities, turned their military academies to dust. Not extinction, but erasure. The Zalari Dominion ceased to exist. Not by genocide, but by something far worse. Irrelevance. Their fleets were gone. Their world shattered. Their legacy reduced to nothing more than a footnote in human history. And humanity? They didn't stay to gloat. The war was over. Earth had delivered its justice. No songs would be sung. No celebrations held. Just a silent, unspoken truth that echoed through the galaxy. Never again.